Okay, welcome back by Coding University, training humans to train themselves. One of the things I want to talk about today is our drive to become the person we want to become is sort of stolen from us in a way. Uh, there's a lot of the studies have been done on children who, just when they're crayoling or drawing or whatever they're doing, they sit there and they get into it themselves. They really like it, and then if an adult or a adult figure comes in and says, "Oh, that's really good," and starts to really admire their drawing, now the child starts to draw for the adult to please the adult, uh, and now they notice that the child doesn't just draw normally, like just go into the room and go, "Oh boy, I want to draw because I want to draw." They go in there, and if the adult's there, they draw to impress the adult or the adult figure. In other words, what was at one time was often treated as an internal or intrinsic drive has been taken away, and the drive to draw has now been replaced by an external drive when the adult is there or whatever they feel rewarded. So internal drives and external drives are real important. One of the things we want to look at is when we look at our machine right now, our vehicle that we have right now, is it driven more by external drives or internal drives? Remember, if we want to get it to where we want to go, we got to have it driven by internal drives, because a lot of the places we want to go, other people may not want us to go there, or could care less if we go there. In other words, we have to somehow get ourselves the power and energy to get to where we need to go. We need these internal or intrinsic drives, shall we say, activated and under our control. So internal versus external drives. Okay, real important. I want to talk to you a little bit here. Now, we have, your body is an external drive. You want to think of it sort of, in other words, if you're hungry, or whatever, it bugs you. Okay, if you're bothering somebody in the outside world, you're bothering them, they get after you. If you're drawing good, they admire you. All those are external to, maybe let's call your internal drives, your values, and maybe your goals or dreams or whatever. Those are things you enjoy. Okay, things that I'm going to call maybe come from your spirit more than anything. Okay, but the most important is they're internal. There's, you generate them. It isn't like the outside, comes along and you want money? Here, I'll give it to you if you do this. You want me to praise you? You do this and I'll praise you. Good boy, or here, great job, or whatever. In other words, internal drives that you do it, man, because I really enjoy doing it. You're interested because you're really interested. You create the interest. These are the internal. I'm proud of it because I'm proud of it. Now, that's not how we're normally trained. Now, Marva Collins, I don't know if you've heard of Marva Collins, but she was an excellent educator. And one of the things that she used to do is she used to really focus on getting her students to think for themselves. Now, she started a school with basically people that were thought to be mentally deficient. And they went to her school, and all of a sudden, after a couple of years or so, they were 2 to 3 times past their grade level. So it's sort of like she generated something there. One of the biggest things she generated in there was that internal drive for the student to want to do better because they were proud of it, because they were curious, because they had generated interest and things of this nature. Now, she would get them, reading all this stuff about great people and talk about great people and talk about greatness and stuff like that. And then she would ask them, well, what do you think? So to speak, standing with all these great people, what do you think? And she wanted to know. And it wasn't like they would ever be wrong. I mean, whatever they said, she wanted them to be thinking for themselves. What do you think? See, it's the idea that you're important enough that you can think, you can create drives, that you can do something important and valuable, and that you can think and your thoughts are worth listening to. That's where she was driving. Internal drives were real important. So if we're going to want to get to our dreams and goals, we got to start generating these internal drives and start looking at what is driving our vehicle right now, what's powering it. Is it, are we doing it because we get paid? We've already talked about that, saying, it's more important who you become than what you get on the job. Okay, you're driven to do that job because you're becoming someone better, growing, developing, and something you're proud of doing. You feel like you've done a good job and it's worthwhile doing, and you get paid for it. Okay, but that internal drive is something we really want to generate. Now, you've got to look at your automatic. Your automatic is looking to be triggered, and it's looking to be triggered to do something and then be rewarded. Now, people go, oh, it's so boring around here, because they look into the environment and what triggers them doesn't give them much reward. Okay, because it's external. See, now, if a person's drawing or doing things, creating a project, the drive comes from inside. They generate the drive. And that's the key thing. They generate the drive. They generate their importance. They generate, what they think should or shouldn't be done. It isn't from the outside. The force, the pressure, those things, again, remember, are key signs that you're not being trained. You're trying to force your vehicle to do things it shouldn't do. Okay, anyway, the things here is this video mainly is to start to get you to sense or see these different internal and external drives that make your vehicle or machine run. Most of us were trained to have the external ones be the power, because now that's basically you're responding to the world and it sort of controls you, and a lot of us feel that way. They're making me do it, they're doing this to me, you feel controlled. So all you have to do is say, okay, now wait, I've got to do like Martha Collins says and think for myself. I got to start generating interest in things. I've got to start generating feeling proud about things. I start thinking, is this right or is that right? Or what do I think we should be done here? So developing these internal drives is an important part, is what's going to make your vehicle work and run. And those are things that you need to do. And remember, they were probably stolen from you when you were a young kid, and now you've got to regenerate them. So regenerating, think for yourself. What do you think? And not copy. Because a lot of people think, well, if I think, then they listen to this talk radio, whatever talk radio said, they think. They don't really go back and say, well, what are my values? They don't go, what's the logic? Where does this come from? They just want to belong. And so they, so that they feel good about themselves. Because a lot of us don't feel good about ourselves. We got to start to generate importance. And we're important. Remember, you've got to start generating importance. I'm going to be talking about importance here probably in this next one here real shortly here. So the key thing is internal drives, critical to start generate them and learning how to generate and control them, and looking at your vehicle and start replacing some of those externally driven machinery with internally driven machinery. And it's not easy. Okay, because again, when somebody says here, for so much money you do this, now that's an external drive. So why are you doing it? Because I make money. It's the best place I can make the most money. So that's really what you want? No, you want to start thinking, I can make any amount of money I want, but more importantly, who I become is more important. Okay, and once I start generating that, I can create a machine that can earn as much money as I want, or get as much love as I want, or feel as important as I want, because I'm generating it. Okay, so Vicoding University, training humans to train themselves. And remember, some of your drives have been stolen. It's time for you to start training and generating them again. So, Vicoding University, training humans to train themselves. Alrighty, talk to you soon.